Welcome back to another episode of Sips and Spirits, a podcast for those who love spirits of both the alcoholic and spectral kinds. I am your hostess, one of two co-hosts, Chelsea.
I'm our co-host, Eric. A little disclaimer before we get started. We are not historians. Any facts or stories are presented from various sources, and we make no claims that these tales are true. We just found them spooky and interesting in their nature.
Yeah, we are not professional mixologists. However, for this episode, we've created a special cocktail inspired by today's Cryptid selection. All right, so our Cryptid and cocktail this episode is the Beast of Bray Road. Congrats to Ghoul Next Door _ on Instagram for guessing this cryptid correctly.
Good job.
If you don't know what we're talking about, we'll get into that more details later. But you can always guess what this even-numbered episode cryptid's going to be. And if you get it right, we shout you out like we did for our friend Ghoul Next Door.
There we go. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's cheers.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Once again, these cards come from Classic Cryptids, decks from Afterlight Comics published from the UK. The Beast of Bray Road. According to them, it first appears, a reported sighting is in 1936 on a rural I always had a hard time with that word. Rural road outside of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. It stands on two legs and can resemble a bear or in some cases a wolf. It is very large, intelligent, and brown-gray in color. Okay.
Yeah. So, with that description, that is what we were armed with, and it's pretty consistent through all the accounts and stories that we could find while trying to do research for this cocktail. It's also very vague, as you notice. Most of the descriptions are like, it's a bear or wolf-like creature.
Yep.
Honey, gray, brown fur.
It catches its colors.
Only thing that's consistent is that it's about 7 feet tall.
It's a large little
Been
cryptid.
encountered on this road.
I feel the only consistent thing is where it's found.
Right. And there have been several instances.
Oh, yes.
So almost like how with Mothman, it was in a certain area specific. So we're going to go into the ingredients in this cocktail.
What did we use for this bad boy?
We used brandy, cranberry juice, half a lemon, and some rosemary. Now, if you are choosing to make this drink a mocktail instead of a cocktail, we recommend using honey simple syrup in place of the brandy. You can always find the recipe for this cocktail on our website, sipsandspirits.com. We have a little tab called cocktails, and you can find all our original cocktails there. Because this is the most recent episode at the time you're listening to it. It should be the first cocktail right there.
No, sorry, wait. First, okay, yeah. Goes in chronological order.
Yes. And from newest to oldest.
There you go. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. But we also have the link in the show notes. So if you're ever looking for it, just refer to this episode's show notes.
There we go.
All right. So I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Penny Snark on Instagram. She is one of the co-hosts of Ghouls Night In podcast. And she is my Wisconsin expert. She really is. She knows the area so well. And because I know she's familiar with a lot of things in regards to Wisconsin, especially drinking, because she's one of my drinking buddies, I thought I'd pick her brain on what is like popular Wisconsin liquors. And she threw out that brandy, especially a brandy old-fashioned, is very popular in Wisconsin. So are cranberries, especially cranberry liqueurs. Now, in our area, we had a really hard time finding cranberry liqueurs.
We asked at Total Wine, the guy gives a stare like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know we don't got that.
But he looked it up anyways. I appreciated that. But so at least here in California, we had a hard time finding cranberry liqueurs. So we decided to do cranberry juice because I believe cranberries are grown in Wisconsin, which is why they're so popular.
Oh, cool.
But Penny, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So we went with a brandy. We found this great, beautiful brandy made in California called Bear Valley, and it's a California honey brandy. And on the logo is a bear, which not only does that relate to California, but we felt it was a good fit to relate to the Beast of Bray Road since it has the mishmash description of being a bear or a wolf.
Some kind of thing.
We really wanted to make this cocktail more earthy, and we were trying to figure out how to tone down the honey flavor. Yeah. This brandy is very sweet. Now, I'm not too familiar with brandies, and I don't think you are either, right?
I haven't had one in a long time. It's not something I go to because, I mean, as we saw, there wasn't that many options to it. Cognacs and brandies is not something I usually go to drink, but I've had some before, but I can't recall in memory like what they taste like.
Right. So this particular brandy is very sweet, and we didn't want it to be overwhelmingly sweet. We wanted the feeling of being on a road, like an old dirt road. So I don't know why you're laughing.
It's what I thought because it's a honey brandy. It's like, this brandy is what Winnie the Pooh will drink.
Yeah. Yeah. If Winnie the Pooh was for adults,
there we go.
He'd be drinking brandy instead of trying to get honey. So we decided to throw in some rosemary, so it's muddled when you make the cocktail, but we also use a sprig, which we slap to release the essence, and that's actually a very big selling point, important factor in making this, because usually we're not big garnish people. It's like it makes the cocktail look pretty, but it's sometimes the garnish is more complicated than the cocktail.
Yeah.
So we tend to avoid it. But with this sprig of rosemary is very key to rounding out this cocktail. And then we also added in the lemon to really cut down on the sweetness, so balance it out, bring out more tardiness. Because we were hoping the cranberry would bring out some more of those earthy tones, because cranberries tend to be a little bit more bitter. But the brandy was still overpowering the cranberry.
So overpowering.
And the lemon juice brought out more of the cranberry juice flavor.
Yeah.
So it's not a very strong cocktail. There's only an ounce of brandy in this, and that's the only liquor in there. But I'd love to hear for anyone who's able to find some cranberry liqueur, if maybe like doing a mix of the cranberry juice and liqueur, how that
makes it taste.
But yeah, it's a very simple, easy to enjoy cocktail. I really like the flavor.
Yeah, it's very nice. We were trying to so we're trying to find some brandy and cranberry juice. Because I couldn't remember what the flavors of brandies were. I was like, okay, let's just test it out. We tried to try a few different brandies to week to be like, okay, we want this one. I don't think we can make anything with it. This one's okay, and then it's like when we got this, like, yeah, let's go with this one, kind of thing. And I enjoy cranberry juice. Lemon juice is great. I have a love-hate relationship with rosemary, just because one time somebody made me a chicken rosemary, I'm gonna call it. It was more rosemary than chicken. So I took a bite. I was like, wow, rosemary. But this is very nice. It does give it that like herby, earthy tone to it, and it makes it very enjoyable in that aspect of things.
Yeah.
I'll say a little side note. It made me think we should make a map where all our fans are at, and be like where they're all located, and be like every time we need to like that way we need to like go to the location or like reference to like, hey, you. How's it going over there?
What can you tell us about this area?
What can you tell us? But as a side note. But yeah, no, definitely enjoy a cocktail. Seasonal wise, I would say more spring cocktail.
I don't feel like it's a spring cocktail.
Oh.
I feel like more autumny. Personally.
I don't know, because like the lemon makes it think like spring lemonade. But the rosemary gives me the fall.
Rosemary and the cranberry to me give more of a autumn vibe.
But yeah.
But it's nice, and it's not too sweet, which I'm really happy we figured out how to cut down on that.
Straight up, it's like pretty much like drinking straight up honey.
And not that there's nothing wrong with a sweet
No.
cocktails. Some people love them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really our taste. So unfortunately, a lot of these cocktails are going to be more for our preferences.
It would be a part of. Now, I will say like one of my favorite ticket drinks is a punch, like a fruit punch.
Mm.
So I like when it comes to sweet drinks. I'm like, it depends on what I'm drinking with or what I'm eating with it.
I think the type of sweet too.
Yeah, also type of sweet kind of thing. But like for more leisure drinking, yeah, definitely not a sweet drink person.
But this is very, very easy to drink.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, so.
So we filled your glass with spirits. Now it's time to fill your ears. And I got lots and lots and lots and lots. I had fun with this. So, the Beast of Bay Road, like Mothman.
I read your mind.
I know, right? Its original cryptid nicknamed the Wisconsin Werewolf. That's what I found. Multiple sightings have been reported. In 1964, Dennis Lewis in Harvard, Illinois, while driving home from his job at Admiral Television Corporation, he saw a large creature running across the road. Describes a dark brown in color, 400 to 500 pounds, 7 to 8 feet. When he returned in the morning to look for evidence, little was found except for possibly corn pushed aside as it ducked into the fields. In 1972, a woman reported an attempt to break in. A large unknown animal approached her home and tried to enter through the door. She also reported the beast returned and injured a farm animal, inflicting a deep wound that extended shoulder to shoulder. Her description matched that of the beast of Bray Wood, with only evidence being a 12-inch footprint. Between 1989 and 1999 was the most reported sightings. Most people stayed quiet until Dorothy Gibson in 1999 came to light. Then numerous reports dating all the way back to 1989 came forward. They were afraid of public opinion and general disbelief, People coming out and be like, hey guys, I saw a werewolf. Like, what's going to happen? Scott Bray admitted seeing a strange looking dog in his pasture near Bray Road. In October 1989, described as a larger and taller than a German Shepherd, pointed ears, hair-covered tail, and gray-black fur, bulkier in the front with strong chest. He followed the beast to a large pile of rocks where he lost sight of it. Proof of a large print is all that remained. Russell Geist, reported a sighting around this same time. He was about a block away from an overgrown area when he heard the brush being rustled. A beast appeared standing on his hind legs. Geist stated that it took a few wobbly steps before he ran away. Geist turned to see if he was being followed. The beast had gone all four, but did not follow. It eventually wandered toward Braywood. Geist gave a similar description, adding an oversized dog or wolf head, wide neck and shoulders. On the fall evening in 1989, bar manager Lori Endrizi was driving along Bay Road as she rounded the bend, and she saw what she first thought was a human kneeled hunched along the side of the road, slowly going closer to get a better look. She's about 6 feet away and got a quick look at it. Described the beast with gray-brown fur, fangs, pointed ears, eyes glowing yellow, arms jointed like humans holding food in its palm. Heather Bowie, around Christmas of 1990. Occurred around 4:30 in her way home from a sledding ride with her friends. Near Loveland Road, about a mile and a half southeast of the intersection of Hospital Road and Bray Road. They saw a large dog walking along the creek and the cornfield. Thinking it was a dog, the children called to it. Hearing the call, the creature stood on its hind legs. It took maybe 4 steps in the direction, though it appeared to be unaccustomed to walking its hind legs. It dropped down, charged the children. Bowie claimed the creature was able to leap a bigger leap than the dog run. The children ran and the creature followed for about 250 yards before veering away. Bowie's story was told by a bus driver, Pat Lester, who was also Lori Anderson's mother. Lester told his story to Linda Godfrey. So like this people started to like talk about him like, hey, yeah, I saw that and I saw that too. Mike Ethan, a dairy farmer, made a report in March of 1990. He admitted been drinking on the night of the incident, but claims to have seen a dog-like beast that was much larger than a regular dog. Described as sitting like a raccoon, using its front paws to hold something it was eating near Bray Road. Ethan dismissed it maybe being a bear sighting, but after hearing more stories, maybe he saw the same thing. 1990, October 31st, 18-year-old Thorsten Gibson was driving on the Bray Road near Delavan, Wisconsin. As she approached the intersection of Hospital Road, her right tire was jolted as it was lifted off the ground to roll over something large. She stopped and exited the car to see what had been hit. As she peered into the darkness, she noticed a large, hairy figure moving quickly towards her. Afraid, she jumped into her car and started it. As she pulled away, the beast leaped into her trunk. The beast could not get a hold of her wet car exterior and slid off. She returned later to the evening while trick-or-treating with another girl and saw a large form along the road. It's a lot of different reportings of this beast.
Now, 1990.
Yep. Now, this is the first reporting that has been recorded. People like public is saying. Mark Shackelman arrived at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children a little before midnight. He carried his flashlight in his belt. As a night watchman for the school, he walked these grounds every night. The school was located outside a former Franciscan convent outside of Jefferson, and the grounds covered several old buildings, an orchard, and a wide open field where several old Native American burial mounds had been preserved. The year was 1936. Shackelman was in his 30s, a husband, a father, working the uneventful job for a paycheck to support his family. In rural Jefferson, there wasn't much to worry about, save the possibility of burglary and some teenagers playing a prank. That night, Shackelman was crossing the fields when he saw a shadow. He squinted to see what it was. A hunched form was on all fours, digging into one of the mounds. From the canine way of dug, it should have been a dog or maybe a wolf, but even from far away, Shackelman could see the thing was far too big for that. Suddenly, he looked at him, and then stood up. The sleek, hairy body unfurled to over 6 feet tall. It was shaggy, canine face, but beneath the thick fur, the muscular body of a man, a low growl echoed across the field. He smelled rotten meat. His heart beating fast, trying to control his breath. Shackelman stepped back with sudden violence. The thing turned and ran off into the trees and was gone. The next night, Shackelman returned to St. Coletta for his usual rounds. As he walked the fields, he saw a shadow again, digging in the same mound as the night before. This time, he gripped his flashlight tight, ready to run or swing if he needed. Again, it stood up, but this time, it opened its mouth. Shackelman saw fangs hanging down from his teeth, and his lip pulled back and it snarled. It growled at him, and the speech half human, half beast. He didn't move, and again, the creature turned and left. He never saw it again, but the horrendous growl, the way it seemed to speak to him, stuck in his mind for years afterwards. Ooh. And that's it. That's the Beast of Bray Road. Side of it, most people mostly stay in Bray Road. Different people see it, different locations, different things, just across, eating, at least not attacking people. Let's call it housebreaking.
But it didn't really break in, it just attacked the house.
Yeah, I was trying to find something. I was looking for food, kind of thing. And you think about it, you have these creatures who knows how old they are. They might be new world, old world, how old they are, kind of thing. And if they're old, they're used to having hunting grounds. Most animals have hunting grounds, and they keep a routine cycle going through those things. So we don't know what its feeding cycles are. Let's say it needs to feed every 10 years or whatever, kind of thing. And it just happened to land during that time when all those sightings came out, kind of thing. And so people just kept seeing it more over again, and then disappeared, kind of thing, afterwards. But yeah, you don't know. You don't know. It was interesting because after the multiple sightings, people like when the new last one that came out, and then people started coming out with more sightings. More people started to like, oh yeah, this and that. But then people started going like, oh, you're just trying to like make this like a tourist attraction kind of thing. And whatnot. It's like a lot of them seem like very like over the top, hokey kind of thing. But I was like, it was still very interesting. As all this silence happening like close by to each other.
Right. Very interesting. Now we didn't get a chance to watch it, but I'm so curious about what the B movie
Beast of Bray
by
Road.
the same name of the creature, what it's like.
We'll have to watch it later and give you guys a post reaction to it.
Right? Because there's a good handful of accounts, but not a lot of information about this creature.
What would you consider a lot of information?
I don't know. It just seems like it's not very, there's not really, the descriptions don't seem very descriptive to me.
No.
They're not very detailed.
No.
And to me personally, I'm like, a bear and a wolf, they don't look much alike. They don't even move the same way.
A werebear and a werewolf, though.
But
kind of have similar
I don't know why
features.
people associate it with being a werewolf.
Because it's...
Or a werebear.
It stands up on its hind legs.
It'll stand on its hind legs, but even like one account was like, but it didn't seem comfortable on it. It does it more for like an intimidation thing, it seems like, which is very bear-like. Bears can stand on their hind legs, but they don't do it for very long.
I wonder if it's more like a... Because I know there's werewolf, there's wolfmen, and there's lycans. And they're all like different in certain kind of ways. Yeah.
But there's no like... So are people just associating like the movement of standing on its hind legs? And then you had like one instance where it was holding something with its two paws. But a bear does that when it eats a salmon. I mean...
It does?
So... Nothing in the descriptions, which is where I was like really hung up on. I didn't want to make a werewolf inspired cocktail because nothing to me really stood out as it's a werewolf.
Yeah, no.
It's like, well, maybe like a wolf humanoid creature, but not something that transforms. There's no proof in any of the accounts that this was something that changed its form.
No, yeah. No, and that's the thing about certain cryptids, in some situations, and it could also be just the nature of the cryptid itself. It's like we don't know what Nessie looks like. We know it has a long neck, it has a hump. That's all we know. For all we know, they could have like regular feet underneath the water, just like treading water. But we make it into this like little dinosaur-looking thing. The same thing with the chupacabra, like nobody's really like seen it kind of thing. They have seen the bite marks of it. They kick it. So I'm just that's in a situation. But in this same situation, it's like they kind of have like glimpses of it, but it's like because it's never been like full on encounter. No one had to like.
I mean, I understand that's what makes a cryptid, right? I just feel like there's other cryptids with more. You have a clear vision of what Nessie looks like, right?
But
it's
again,
a plesiosaur type.
Yes, but do we actually know that's what it looks like?
It doesn't matter if that's what we know if it looks like it, but there's more accounts that have similar descriptions, and they're a bit more detailed in that it's like, okay, I have an actual visual.
Yeah.
All these accounts, it's like, it could literally be anything.
Could be anything. A very large wolf, dog, German Shepherd, whatever it is. But yeah, overall, it's still interesting though.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, I think like to have a local werewolf or local cryptid is always fun.
Well, and if you were intrigued by this Wisconsin cryptid, I do have to shout out once more to Ghouls Night In podcast. Penny goes into very great accounts of the different kinds of cryptids you can find in Wisconsin because they've got multiples. Yeah.
To have like a zoo or something. So,
like I said, Penny is the Wisconsin expert, and she has such great knowledge of the area. And I admire and am envious that you have such a connection with a place because it's amazing what she can share about Wisconsin. So I highly recommend checking out that episode. It's like the title says something about the hodag in it. So
cool.
It's very entertaining.
Very neat. Very neat.
So I guess you ready to play some Guess Who's?
Some Guess Who's? Guess Who's? Intrigue me. Guess who?
Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Get my spooky Dr. Seuss voice on.
So get you a hat. That kind of hat.
You're on about the hat again.
I don't know. Without thinking Dr. Seuss, all I think is the kind of hat.
Okay. Much like the boogeyman, children must beware of this cryptid often known for its long black hair. The warning is clear, from the ice you must steer, for though it is thick, danger dwells ever near.
It's terrifying, just so you know.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's very terrifying. Cool. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Think I got it?
Think you got it.
All right. So you leave your guess on our Instagram. We share a sound bite of this Guess Who. So you can leave a comment on there with what you think next time's cryptid's going to be. So episode 16. Or we also share it in the stories. So either one, I save the answers for both of those.
There we go.
So if you guess it right, we'll shout you out in the next episode.
There we go. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay then.
So are we ready to wrap this up?
Ready to wrap this up. Ready to like bounce out like this piece of Bray Road. It's like
We're in and out.
in and out. Get out of here. Okay. Thank you for sipping along with us. We want to keep those spirits flowing. So please be sure to show your support by reviewing, subscribing. My mic's too high now. To our podcast. There we go. If you enjoy the show, be sure to share it with others. You know, we have talk about different spirits. We now talk about different cryptids. We're making our own cocktails. Share it around. Get to find some cool stuff. Hopefully you get to enjoy some virgin cocktails. Some people like those versus your sexual spirits ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you can share with your friends, family, your kids, the virgin ones, of course. And why not?
The
But yeah.
mocktails.
The mocktails. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Gotcha.
You know, come hang out with us. Come say hi.
Yeah.
Guess our spirit, our cryptids.
And we have lots of places where you can come say hi. So we have a website, sipsandspirits.com, but we also are available on all podcast hosts and YouTube. So you can leave a comment on YouTube, one of our videos. You can also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can say hi anywhere there. Someone will get back to you, whether it's me or Eric.
Or the ghosts.
We all hang out. Who's your... It's not Jeff.
It's Jeff.
Paul?
Rudy? I don't know.
One of our spirits
One of our spirits
will
will say,
return the communications.
if your Ouija board starts moving, says, hey, ask if it's Sips and Spirit first.
But yeah, we do have a contact form on our website. You can leave comments on our show notes if you want to start the conversation there. Lots of places to reach out and get the conversation going with us. And we love chatting up with you guys on spirits, cocktail suggestions, cocktail alternatives. And yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah. So we hope to catch you around the bar next time.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.